All right, recording is live. We're going to go live in 5, 4, 3, 2. Take 3 Wrestling Podcast, as my daughter says hello at the same time. We are live. It is Thursday night. It is 11 p.m. our time here on the East Coast. It is March 17th when we're recording. It'll be March 18th by the time this hits your ears, or the 19th or the 20th, whenever the toolbox gets around to putting it up on his feed. He is not here tonight. It is me. It's Mike. I am joined again by Joe.
Yo. Yo.
And of course, we have I'm just gonna name him the 4th member of the Take 3 Wrestling Podcast by default, and the definite better member of the show that is here this week. That is one Mr. Big Jim.
Yeah, what's going on, boys?
Oh, we're going to talk about some fun stuff that happened this week with our Wrestlers of the Week, because this was a pretty shit week. Hi, Dakota. Hello, how are you?
Hi, Dakota.
She says, hi, everyone.
A baby girl.
She's the diva here. Yes, you are. Okay, so we're going to talk about the really bad week that was professional wrestling.
It was not a good week.
In the Wrestler of the Week category. But I guess let's start it off with the unfortunate, tragic news that is going to basically be a story this entire episode. It is the untimely passing of one Razor Ramon, Scott Hall. Found out, what was it, late Sunday?
Yeah.
Was when the first things were starting to get posted that Scott was in critical condition and then was in basically life support due to, I guess, blood clots that had moved during a surgery to replace his hip that had caused him to have multiple heart attacks. Unfortunately, we woke up Monday morning. Jim or Ernest had sent us a text in one of our group chats, and basically it was Kevin Nash's post about basically that they were taking Scott off of life support at some point today, once his family got there and they could get some things figured out. And then it didn't look good, and it looked really, really bad. And then there was a spot where it came out that they had taken him off of life support at about 12 o'clock, and people were like, "Oh, he hasn't given up just yet. He hasn't taken the final fall yet." And unfortunately, he succumbed at some point Monday day. I don't necessarily know an exact time. I just know that Waltman posted that he was gone at about 7 o'clock Monday night. That Razor.
Yeah. There was still kind of like unsure around the time that Raw started, and then when Raw started and they had the graphic, it was like, oh fuck, because the last I had heard was they had taking him off of life support, and that was the last I had seen, and yeah, I think we even touched on it on 3 Count tonight, that we were all just kind of hoping, like, hey, maybe he's gonna pull like a Ric Flair, because like a couple of years ago when Flair went through his hospitalizations and stuff, there was that point where it's like it was really, really critical, and then he just kind of got better, and he's Nate is being Nate right now. I mean, hell, I saw a video of this earlier today of him drinking green beer in Tampa, Florida, and wooing at a bar like only Ric Flair can do.
He's doing lines of cocaine off of his soon-to-be 37th wife.
Probably. So I think we all kind of had that hope and that thought, like, hey, maybe old Razor is going to do the same thing, and sadly it wasn't to be.
Yeah.
I was listening earlier today to the latest episode of the Jim Ross podcast that came out today, and during the recording they first get the news that he's like on life support and stuff like that. And it's interesting that they decided to leave all that in, knowing at this point that, like, obviously we know how things sadly turned out, but they left it all in, and it's an interesting sort of social experience to hear this man and these people be like, oh, wow, let's keep an eye on this, but hopefully he pulls through. And, it's sad knowing that we already know he didn't, It's funny because he did pull through with all the issues that he had in his life, and he did get sober, and he was looking good, and it actually makes this kind of a surprise, because I think if this had happened 10 years ago, it wouldn't have been as much of a surprise to anybody. But it happening now, when he finally kind of turns his life around, was sadly very surprising.
Yeah, that was another thing I said tonight. We were talking about it on 3 Count. Is like it feels like really kind of fucking tragic that that he went through the really dark days of his life, and over the last couple of years he's done so much work to clean his life up and make amends, and he gets into the Hall of Fame twice, and he's giving back to the wrestling industry at independent shows, and doing classes at the Performance Center, and like just kind of I think got a second lease on his wrestling life. I mean, obviously well past his in-ring days, but being able to share the knowledge that he has and all of that, and has this hip injury. I didn't even know he had a hip injury. I guess he fell earlier this month or last month or something, and so they had this they did this surgery, and then just like that he's gone, and it's just it's just another one of those wrestling tragedies that we talk about all too frequently, that you can just sit here and go, man, this sucks. This really sucks.
It does. I will say that now that we can have the unfortunate idea of having to talk about Scott in past tense, I think the closing line of his Razor Ramon Hall of Fame speech is kind of where a lot of people are gonna, especially from a fan perspective, try to sink their teeth into to remember, and take what happened with Scott, from the run as Razor to the Outsiders to then all of the personal demons that he had to fight. Hard work does pay off, and dreams do come true. The bad times that everyone's going through will eventually go away. But if you're a bad guy, you sure as hell won't. And I love that I love that speech. I love the close of that speech. It's probably one of my favorite Hall of Fame speeches.
In my lifetime, I've learned hard work pays off. Dreams come true. Bad times don't last, but bad guys do.
Just, I mean, dude, the chills. Like we played the same clip on 3 Count tonight, and freaking my hair's standing on end, and yeah, and like seeing him get emotional. We talked about, like, you think Hall of Fame speeches anymore are so long and so drawn out. And we covered somebody that worked with him on the speech, and it was like 4 minutes. He didn't want to wear out his welcome, and it was just, to close the way he did, man, just it chills. That's, I mean, I can't say anything else really about that speech and that timeless clip that well, because he's gone, and it's tragic, it's sad, but the memories of him and his career, for us that lived with it, it's just, man, we'll have that forever. He's never going away for all of us.
No, absolutely. I think I was on Twitter shortly after, and somebody posted something about there needs to be a ladder match at WrestleMania for the Intercontinental title every year, and Sean Ross Sapp jumped on it and said absolutely, and just name it the Razor Ramon Memorial Battle Royal.
Ladder match.
I said Battle Royal, didn't I?
You did.
You did. Sure did.
I did. I'm behind that. If and everybody on this show and now everybody on 3 Count know how I feel about the Intercontinental Champion currently, Rick O'Shea. For those of you that don't know, go to 3 Counts. What is it? 3CountThursday.com.
Yeah, go to 3CountThursday.com. Find our TeePublic link. Any of our social media too. We have the TeePublic link in the link tree, and there's a shirt. Actually, I can pull it up probably really quick. But yeah, it's the Rick O'Shea. He's still a dick.
Change the belt.
Where's the? Oh, well, yeah, that belt is fucking.
Go back to the old belt and let whoever wins the ladder match at WrestleMania get the new belt, the new old belt.
White belt.
I would.
Little squares on the side. Perfect. Bring it back.
You got Rick O'Shea.
O'Shea
on the front.
I would just like to say,
he's still a
dick.
So, for anyone watching this right now on YouTube, and obviously, like, you were just showing the T-shirt, so, like, you're aware that there are some people watching this. You definitely just saw me on mute, like, yelling very loudly and like, pointing and stuff. So I want to explain, I'm not insane. I am not Randy Orton. These are not the voices in my head. They do not talk. It is simply a 6-month-old boxer who is named Rambo, which is short for rambunctious, because that's what homeboy be. And I had to yell at him because he keeps fucking with the cat. Because he wants to be friends with the cat, and the cat is just like, I don't fuck with you. Like, you dirty ass bitch. Like, I don't want to be fucking with you.
All right. So for those of you at home and if anyone that works at like children and family services, you just said that you were screaming at a 6-month-old boxer. You shouldn't let your 6-month-old box. B, why are you yelling at your kid like that? C, I wouldn't want to be friends with the dog either if I was a 6-month-old stupid ass bitch. You ain't fucking with me. Cat's like, no.
That's a reason.
This is another picture that fucking gutted me. It's the old Hasbro figures.
Yes, I saw that.
It's a unfortunately too large collection. But
was that Miss Elizabeth in the back with the Coke under her nose?
Oh, Joe, that is inappropriate. Although I wish they wouldn't have put Jimmy Snuka like front and center in the ring. But anyway, but yeah, it's the Razor Ramon.
They should put him in the back with the Chris Bowflex wrestling figure.
I don't think he got a Hasbro figure.
Yep.
But it's that one freaking gutted me. We're going down the list of on 3 Count of the number of Hasbro figures that the superstars are no longer with us, which is just awful.
Oh, it's unfortunately a list that's going to grow.
Sure.
Just hopefully not at a rapid rate like the list that already is there.
Yeah.
I do feel like what's interesting is, and even in this situation, because it's not like, I mean, I guess, yeah, Hall, his heart was probably much weaker from all the drugs that he did over the years and the alcoholism and all of that.
Probably didn't help.
But it seems like now, and I think more so for the next generation, like for the guys who are big now in AEW and like the upcoming generation, the guys who are going to be wrestling for the next, let's be honest, possibly 30 years. Your Hangman Pages and your like Young Bucks and all that. I mean, maybe the Young Bucks not another 30 years, but they could be around for at least another 15, 20.
Your two man crushes, Sammy Guevara and Austin Theory.
Yeah, no, those guys are going to be around like probably long after both wrestling companies. And that's okay. I'm okay with that. Just wrestle every week in hot oil. It'll be fine. So all I'm saying is it's interesting because this generation of wrestlers take such better care of themselves that we won't be seeing as much of, oh my God, all these wrestlers dying at the age of 45, 50 years old, yada, yada, yada. So there's going to hit a point where we're not going to have a whole lot of wrestlers, I think, passing away. But we're also in a point now where all the guys who made it through the dying young from drugs and partying too hard and all of that are now probably going to start kicking the bucket just from old fucking age. Like, honestly, Ric Flair can only kick out so many times. The man is what, like 87 now?
Oh yeah, he's not young, and he is not taking care of himself for a man that almost died like 3 years ago. Like he is pretending it's 1976 and he's back in,
My wife says hello.
Hello.
Joe?
He's yelling at Rambo with his mic muted. His 6-month-old child that he's yelling at.
It's
Being a
It's
mom.
a puppy. It's a puppy. And he's over here fucking reenacting MJF and Chris Jericho with the fucking cat. The cat's just like, stop it. Like, this isn't a fucking festival of friendship.
Wow. All right, let's move on to our first topic tonight. We're going to throw the ball over to our guest this week, Mr. Big Jim. Jim, what do we got for us?
Yeah, so I kind of had this thought, and it's a topic, it's a genre topic that we go to multiple times, and it's a what if you will. The God bless Creed. But what if the outsiders, Scott Hall and Kevin Nash, when of course they went to WCW and kind of really changed the wrestling industry, but what if they didn't? What if the outsiders didn't leave, didn't take the money from Ted Turner? If Ted Turner wasn't giving guaranteed contracts and they just re-signed and stayed in WWF. And like we kind of look at it at two different ways. Is there anybody on the roster at the time that makes an impact over there in similar ways? And is there a Monday Night War? Is there 83 weeks? Is there the NWO? Is Vince ever in danger? Does Vince put them out of business sooner? And like, I'm not going to run down the whole list like I did on my show, but I have the list of the WWE roster, the WWF roster from 1995-96, because that's about the time we're talking.
Yeah.
And dude, it is not good. It outside of them. So I'm gonna hit the what I feel is like the heavy hitters at that point that maybe could have made some sort of an impact if they moved over, like Ahmed Johnson, Bam Bam, Brett, Pillman, Bulldog.
Who's gone?
So wait, here's my thing. With all of those names that you just said, the factor that none of them have, that Hall and Nash both had.
They can cut a promo?
The cool factor, yes. The character just oozing off of them. And their ability, like those guys were able to show up in WCW for what, like 2 or 3 months before ever having to actually step in the ring and wrestle a match.
Craig also makes a valid point. The other thing that they have that the other guys that Jim has listed so far is height.
Yeah.
Those are both two big son of a bitches coming over. If not, you could have sent the entire cruiserweight division to go beat them up if it was Brian Pillman and Bret Hart.
Right, exactly.
He's still a dick.
Like what? You send Bret Hart over, and the long-term plan is he bores them all to death with his fucking promo inability.
Jake Roberts, Jeff Jarrett, Mick Foley, Mr. Perfect, Owen Hart.
Here's another point though. If we're to accept the Eric Bischoff proposal that he's made on his podcast, that the concept of the NWO wasn't guys from WWE, WWF coming over. It was guys who didn't make it in WCW coming back as bigger stars. Then again, almost nobody that you've named now on that roster, literally at that point, like you can't even argue Shawn Michaels at that point.
Yeah, say Michaels was there. Sid Vicious, Steve Austin.
Pillman and Austin.
Pillman and Austin, maybe, but
Pillman already had the accident at that point, and Steve Austin is just starting to be Stone Cold. So I don't think.
I was countering Joe's point of him saying that none of them really were ex-WCW guys.
Got it.
Pillman and Austin were because they were the Hollywood Blondes.
Yeah. So was Sid Justin.
Sid Vader as well.
Vader.
Sid and his busted ankle.
But that's the thing now, right? Imagine, okay? Picture it. It's Monday.
1914.
Yes.
Sorry.
It's Monday Nitro. The Brad Armstrong's in the ring wrestling. Fuck who knows? Probably a Volano. And like number 7. And down from the audience comes Psycho Sid. And the image is cool. The image is awesome. You're getting that. You're like, he's coming out. He can still just be wearing blue jeans and no shirt. He's got the body for it. He gets to the ring. And he gets the mic. Is the moment as cool as Scott Hall's, you all know who I am, but you don't know why I'm here? Or is it fucking Sid Vicious fucking up a promo, just being like, I'm the ruler of the motherfucking world?
Oh, we're live, pal. Damn it.
Right, exactly. Like, again, this goes into where I'm saying, I think that they had too much of the cool factor. They had too much of the promo ability and the character ability that was necessary for this to get over the way that it did.
But Tim brought up a great point on our show is, does this even have the impact if Nash is the first one that shows up? And I don't think that it does.
No, because Scott got it over with the promo.
Yes.
Like Nash delivering that promo, it doesn't hit the same.
No.
And also, too, Nash isn't the guy who should need to bring in reinforcements. Exactly.
That's what Craig just said. With Nash being the taller of the two, bringing somebody in now makes him look weaker.
Yes.
And Nash, not that Diesel / Kevin Nash wasn't cool, but you also think about the fact that, the last time a WCW audience saw him, or anybody in WCW remembers it, it's Oz or Vinny Vegas. You're like, why is Vinny Vegas here?
Oz.
You know what I mean? So but Scott Hall, that's the deal, is you're seeing either Razor Ramon or Big Daddy Cool Diesel go rogue and show up on a program. Razor Ramon, yes, you
I wasn't on mute that time. Shit.
Razor Ramon, you jazz up a gimmick. He has the Hawaiian shirts, whatever. But at the bottom line, he's still just kind of this slicked back, greasy haired dude from Miami that you're pretty sure could fuck somebody up. So he just shows up out of nowhere.
I did see a meme that plays this into what you're saying. Razor Ramon is probably the only man that can show up in the middle of fucking North Miami and fucking
yep,
the Hawaiian shirt and fucking fuchsia colored pants with all those chains on and walk out unscathed.
Absolutely. He was just that dude. It was the perfect storm. I've looked at this list when I made the list. I looked at it tonight on 3 Count. I don't see anybody on maybe Taker because of size. I don't even think Sean, because I
think you could, as the first guy, as the Hall, you could have had Sean. Because again, smaller guy who has to then bring in reinforcement, and then at that point, Hall could have been the reinforcement. Nash could have been the reinforcement.
You have to then take into account, and I know that people flip back and forth from channel to channel. Sean never had a run in WCW.
And this is also
of WCW still remember that Scott Hall was there in some way, shape, or form.
You think there were some fans out there who weren't like, oh shit, it's Razor Ramon, who were just like, huh, it's the Diamond Stud. I wonder whatever happened to him.
Happened to him?
No, but I think that there are fans that will go, "Oh, he was on the other show, but we have seen him before. Let's see what happens." Where Shawn Michaels come in, it's why is this fan with a long ponytail and jeans standing in the ring with a microphone?
You got to remember too. This was really pre DX Shawn Michaels, so like we're still talking like beat up by guys in Syracuse Playgirl Shawn Michaels. Like I don't
smile yet.
Right. Like I don't think we see him show up and go like, wow, like this is groundbreaking. Like I don't think Shawn Michaels was at that level yet. Like if Taker shows up, like I think that would be like an interesting like case study. If like
Taker would have to be the second man.
But see, here's the thing, though, too. I'm going to say,
the first man was Brian Pillman, and you gave him a microphone, and he went fucking, like, rogue, and the second man was Taker, you're like, oh, shit, this is a bunch of renegades that have gone rogue.
Yeah. I think the unfortunate part with Pillman is by that point, he's already a broken man. Like, I think he already had the accident at that point.
Yes. So, two things. Number one, beat up by 5 guys in Syracuse sounds like the plot to my next porno. Number 2.
Damn it. How did we stop the show for that long? Fuck is wrong?
Number 2, the reason why I don't think Undertaker would have worked, though, is you also have to remember that we're talking about a point in time when he was still simply just the Undertaker. He hadn't transitioned into that more real version of himself, American badass Undertaker, where he's actually cutting promos and wrestling like a real wrestler and selling and having great matches, honestly, best matches of his entire career during that run at that point. He's not that guy yet. At this point, he's still just the pulling on the gloves and doing all that. Like, maybe he's gone a little bit darker because you're starting to get into, like, the Kane storyline stuff, and his wrestling's gotten better. But for the most part, he's still just the dead man. He's still just the whole act. You're not bringing him in as that act to WCW because they didn't bring Scott Hall in as Razor. So if you have now, like, the reason why it worked with Scott Hall not being Razor but just being Scott Hall is because Razor Ramon was basically just Scott Hall being able to admit that he did tons of cocaine. At the end of the day, he was playing himself, just maybe the volume turned slightly up.
Here's the deal.
He didn't have that luxury.
No, but I think what would be an interesting look and thought is, like, there wasn't as much of, like, the white face, hair always covering his face. Like, you knew what Undertaker looked like.
Yeah.
So I think if Undertaker shows up in just like a black sleeveless shirt, jeans and cowboy boots, and instead of like Razor walking through the crowd like he did, I think if a fucking Undertaker on a motorcycle fucking busts out of the back and he just goes in and grabs a mic and kind of cuts the same sort of a promo of, like, you recognize me, but you don't know what, like, you don't understand what's happening right now.
Yeah.
Like, I think that gets a reaction because you can easily look at Mark from Texas and go, with the tattoos and shit, and go, I know who that fucking guy is. What the hell is happening? You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So, like, I get you want to have the smaller guy first, but I think if that dude shows up and is like, I'm the first, but I'm not the last.
Yeah, no, that works. It works.
I think that grabs the attention. So I think Taker's the only guy that could even
grabs the attention. It also would then end up harming them because 2 weeks later, when you bring Nash in, I always feel like the first guy had to be the charismatic promo guy that needed backup because it's like, oh, you want to come in and try to take over my place? Well, I've got Kevin, or I have, the guys that I have here that I can then go get out of the locker room to come squash you like a bug. I have the. Oh, why is that match on already? Sorry, I just got confused. I'm trying to find the timestamp for the ladder match. So, all right. So, back to my thought. Because Squirrel. If you're gonna have Taker would have to play the role of Diesel. So you'd have to find someone to play the role of Scott Hall, and a name that makes a ton of sense. And I get it. And this is one of those where it's like Pillman would have made sense because Pillman being the loose cannon, you bring in Nash 2 weeks later to be his backup, and then Hogan basically takes the promo role and the leader of the NWO at Bash at the Beach. That makes sense. But the only other thing that I keep putting my finger on, and you'd have to go to a time machine here. Give me the Bret Hart Foundation when he went heel with him and Pillman and Bulldog and Neidhart and Owen, and have them be the group.
They're all dead, except for Bret.
Correct, and he has a stroke hand.
Oh man,
God, why? Everywhere I go with that shit, man.
Stroke hand. Sorry. Even you're laughing at that one, Jim. You're just as fucked up.
so wrong.
Let's go. Yeah, so give me that Hart Foundation as being the rogue group that comes in, because it also would have been a little bit more into the Attitude Era. That's the only reason why I think that you could use them as a group, because the only other group that had any kind of like long-term like hilariousness was the Nation of Domination.
Well, yeah.
Hey, Farouk would have worked.
Former world champion Ron Simmons.
Well, but and that's the problem is when you're looking at Luger, Vader, Simmons, Mick Foley, Piper.
Who on the roster wasn't in WCW at some point?
They had already all been there, and it was so close. And it's like they're also guys that are. I mean, like Foley wasn't, but there's so many guys there that it's like they're kind of near the tail end. Like DiBiase is at the end, Perfect was at the end, Warrior, let's be honest, was at the end, Vader was at the end, Pillman at the end.
That's the group that was Mick Foley, Sid Vicious, and like Hulk Hogan as the NWO.
Oh my God. But like I just don't think like, and and like my closing thought on it is like I look at this roster and I go, man, thank God that Ted Turner was just handing out blank checks, because if Hall doesn't show up first and Nash doesn't show up second, we don't get the NWO. We don't get Hulk Hogan turning heel. We don't get Monday Night Wars. We don't probably get the WWE Attitude Era. So, like, I don't even know if we get to, because depending how things play out with the curtain call and however you want to believe that whole story, we might not get Austin 316. We might not end up getting The Rock. We might not. The ramifications of the what would happen to the wrestling industry. I think WCW goes out. I think WCW goes out a lot sooner. I don't know if we get. I don't know if we get TNA. I don't know what happens to the indie scene. Like wrestling as we know it today, and you can crap on it all you want, your certain companies, whatever, people can. But like we don't. I don't know if we get to where we are.
I do think we get TNA because Jeff Jarrett is like Thanos. He's inevitable.
Wow.
But where's he getting the money?
Bro, where did he get the money in 2002 in the real timeline?
But I mean,
don't understand these things.
I mean, I think he probably got fucking paid by Vince and Turner throughout the Monday Night Wars more than he ever needed. But also, if WCW doesn't have the rise that it does, even though it fell apart, and that's why TNA started with weekly pay-per-views and stuff. But if WCW doesn't rise the way it does, making WWF rise the way it did, why the fuck is anybody giving Jeff Jarrett like a Jeff Jarrett startup promotion even the time of day? Like, you know what I mean? I don't see a scenario where any of this stuff happens.
Yeah, you're not wrong.
The one thing I will say, I do think that because they're slightly less related, I think ECW still goes out of business.
Well, yeah.
Because Paul Heyman could only post-date a check to keep the lights on for so long.
Unless Shaw gets involved with them. I think Tim pointed that out on our show.
Well, but like, I think ECW eventually still goes out of business, and I think Ring of Honor still exists because Ring of Honor comes out of ECW dying, and then the whole indie scene as we know it, and a lot of the guys that came up there, and basically your AEW, like, I think AEW still ends up being a thing. I think AEW was inevitable for the way a lot of the other side of the wrestling industry grew. You know, the side out away from the WWF.
Craig just snapped his fingers like Thanos. Well, I mean, you used the Thanos reference, so.
But you know what I'm saying, though? Like, I think you might be right that maybe TNA never exists, but I don't know that we don't still get to AEW because I think that that's an alternate thing. Because ECW was already happening. ECW was already a success. ECW would have eventually died, and Rob Feinstein would have taken 5 minutes away from the Nickelodeon kids chat rooms to realize that he had to do something for his little video website to still make money, and Ring of Honor would have still happened.
But like, I think part of the thing that made the initial launch of AEW as cool as it was and as big of a deal as it seemed was a major wrestling company returning to the Turner Network, all of that. So like, and whether you can believe any side of the story that you want, but you can't tell me that there wasn't part of the birth of AEW that was WCW went to war with WWE. They lost their funding and they went belly up. Now we have a billionaire and his money mark son who, theoretically speaking, has infinite resources to do what the original WCW didn't and couldn't. Like, the whole thing was the idea of creating this buzz and this underbelly and this war. But I don't know if that exists.
But I think
that WCW getting the level that it did.
But I think that's interesting because, like, obviously, I think that like WCW still would have gone out of business. I think all of that still would have happened, probably the way it happened, no matter what. Like, WCW could have basically somehow driven WWF out of business. And if the executives at AOL Time Warner decided they didn't want it, they still would have not wanted it. It still would have died. But it is a fair argument to question whether or not it would have ever been as popular as it got. I mean, because, right, the wrestling industry and fandom blew up exponentially at the end of the 90s. It was at a point that it had never been, and will probably be again.
And is Tony Khan as big of a wrestling fan without the Monday Night Wars and stuff to become somebody who wants to, like, quote unquote save wrestling? Like, he's 39. He's a year, or he'll be 40 this year. He's 3 years older than me. Like,
yeah, I'm 38. I get it.
Like, without the Monday Night Wars and what wrestling used to be, I just don't know if there's a passion for, like, an Adderall addicted cokehead to want to spend $1 billion in the professional wrestling world right now.
Need more Adderall. And
But
more.
It's a wild thought, man. Like and like I said, if Nash goes first, I don't know.
I agree with that.
It might be just as bad than if they don't go at all. Like it's the perfect storm that was Scott Hall walking through a crowd, grabbing a mic, and basically being like, "Yeah, what the fuck's up?" It forever has changed this industry.
So before we move on, I didn't get to listen to the beginning of your guys' show. On this day, is today the anniversary of 18, or was yesterday the anniversary of 18?
Yeah, it's today. We actually didn't hit on this day today because we started talking about Scott Hall, and then it felt weird to go from like, hey, this guy died, to on this day. Like it had a weird feel to it. So I was like, I made an executive decision to skip
on this day was 18, where Scott Hall took one of the best stunners of all time from
the fucking one of the best. Yeah. Also today at 2000, Beyond the Mat came out.
Yep. And I'll mention this one because I'm on the Twitter on this day in WWE on Twitter. 25 years ago, Arn Anderson retired, or basically said how bad his back injury was. Fast forward 5 years, at that WrestleMania, gives Undertaker one of the best Arn Anderson spine busters of all time in the no disqualification match against Ric Flair.
Unreal. I love this industry.
So we go from, if I take another bump, I might get paralyzed. So Mr. Perfect, you can have my spot too. You know what? It is WrestleMania. Fuck it. Taker's taking a spine buster tonight. Fuck it.
And fucking 20 years later, he's taking falls off of a goddamn stage in AEW.
Jesus.
My back is broken and spinal. All right, let's move on. Let's go to the watch along.
Spinal.
We're going to go to the watch along now. For those of you who haven't already, go to the cock.
What's
right
the
on
time?
the cock.
Right on the cock.
I don't pay for the cock.
Timestamp 1 hour 54 minutes exactly is where we have it queued up currently.
All right, I got to get there.
I figured as much. You just left the show on and it was running while we were talking, correct?
Yes. No, that mistake is no, I need another time.
Also,
Joe timed out.
also 7 minutes left. Akron has UCLA on the ropes.
Hey, yo.
What's the timestamp again? I forgot.
1 hour 54 minutes exactly.
1 hour 54 minutes exactly. All right. Well, I got it's playing an ad. I'm a cheap bitch. I don't pay for the ad list.
Yeah, no, I don't either. I don't even pay. That's where this soundbite came from. I don't pay for the cock because I have Xfinity TV and internet, so I literally do not pay.
Oh, they give cock for free.
Yeah, you get the cock for free with
That's
even if you just have Xfinity internet, because we were looking into potentially canceling our cable and doing like one of the streaming services, but like if you have Xfinity internet, you can get one free it's like a streaming box from them that comes preloaded with Peacock on it. So like you can, as long as you even get their internet, you can get the cock for free.
So I'm not there yet, but can I just say the point that I am at? Alundra Blaze is a really attractive man. All right, I'm moving forward.
Oh, Deucey. Good old Deucey.
Gotta love Deucey over there.
Jeez.
All right, it's almost
He's looking rough lately. I will say that I saw
too far.
Rough, I will say.
I love that I just opened up Twitter and the first thing I see is Ryan's tweet about waiting for the new Wordle of the day.
Yeah, it's coming out soon, right?
About 15 minutes.
God, I love that game.
How do you Wordle? This is a real question because I tried to find the app and I couldn't find it.
It's not an app. It's through the New York Times website. You have to Google Wordle, and it'll take you to the New York Times website.
Really?
Yeah, it's not an app. It's literally on the New York Times website because it got bought by the New York Times.
That's so weird.
Yeah, because when I first heard about it, I looked for the app and I'm like, I'm not seeing what everybody else is seeing. And then somebody had to give me the Iggy that it's a website.
That's so weird.
Yeah, I Wordle, I Hurdle, and I Quirtle. And it fucking Quirtle pisses me off.
What is Quirtle?
So it's like Wordle, but it's 4 boards at one time. And when you guess a word, it places that word on all 4. And it's 4 different words. So it will present to you. So if you're by the time this comes out, today's Quirtle will already be dead. So it's literally 4 different words, and so the first word I guessed was ideas. So like in the top left word, it gave me the I, the D, and the A. Mm-hmm. The second, the top right word, I didn't have any letters. The bottom left, I had the I and the D, and the bottom right, I had the S. So you go, and I think you get a maximum of, I think it's 9 guesses to get all 4.
Okay.
So it's you have to be really kind of calculated in how and when you guess. Like you have to start narrowing down. It's a fucking mind fuck, and I'm pissed that it's Ryan's fault. I started doing Wordle. I told myself I wasn't going to do any of these other ones. Just give me 1 damn word a day to figure out. And then that fucker sent me the link to Quirtle, and I can't not do it, and it pisses me off because now I got all 4 today, but most days I get 3 of them, and the 4th one pisses me off.
There's a dirty one, right?
Oh, I'm sure there is.
I forget what the name of it is, but it's like, wait, I'm gonna Google dirty Wordle.
Dirty Wordle. That might bring up something. That might bring up some completely different, Joe.
Are you?
It's called Loodle.
Loodle?
Yep. LEWDLE.
Oh, I spelled Loodle like poodle. But yeah, that makes a lot more sense. Loodle.
4?
Is it 4-letter words? No, it's still 5-letter words.
It's 1 hour, 54 minutes?
Yes.
Okay, I'm about to be there.
That's what he said?
I mean, sometimes. All right, I'm there. Well, I'm looking at The Undertaker.
That's what he said.
Am I on the right WrestleMania?
10?
Is The Undertaker on your TV?
Oh. Go past The Undertaker. You should just see a shot of the ring with the Fink and the belts at 154.
I'm at
with that great hair.
You're at like 153.56.
No, it had me. That was at 154 for me.
Oh, the fucking cock is such a.
She's a fickle cock. All right.
I will say that you pay that.
I'm at 154.40.
Wow. Are you staring at Howard Fink?
Let's face it, it's easier for you guys to just meet me at this point.
Is there anybody in the ring?
No, I'm looking at title belts.
Looking at title belts? What the fuck ass, Joe?
It's 154.40.
You can't go back?
No, it makes more sense for you guys to go forward now.
I don't know that 154.40 is gonna be the same for us though.
Is this some Mandela effect shit? What's going on?
At title belts at 154.20.
That's probably when I have them. So Joe, keep pause.
Okay.
Let me get. There's also bullshit that there's different timestamps on it. But yeah, let me get here to one because I think Mike and I are on the same. We're on the same cock. So let me get to 154.20 when you're zoomed in.
154.40. There is a picture there. The belts are still there.
I have at 154.20.
Yeah, that's what I'm looking at.
Okay, but at 154.40, it's still the same photo.
Is that where you're at, Mike?
Yes, I'm at 154.40, and it's still frozen on the title belts.
Okay, let me get there. I won't drop my iPad again. So,
No promises.
all right, 154.30. I'm almost there. I'm almost there. Words I've never said to my wife. I'm almost there. Almost there. And
his balls are huge. It's kind of awkward. It's like,
All
put
right.
some pants on, dude.
It's weird that you're staring at your dog's balls.
I don't want to. They're just there.
That's what he said.
all right, I'm at 154.40.
All right. We will go. Basically, if you're going to watch along with us and listen to our hilarious commentary of this match, you can start your Peacock in 5, 4, 3, 2, 1, play. So we got some shiny title belts.
I love those.
You know, I was at this show, right?
Yes.
As a child, at the tender age of 10, because my aunts got me tickets for WrestleMania 10 for like Christmas that year. So I was there. I was in the stands here somewhere.
I'm just sexy Kurt.
And at the time, because I didn't know that, Mike, I don't know, were you alive? And how old were you?
What year was this? 95?
94.
All right, so I just had my 5th birthday.
Okay, so I was 10, because I'm always the same age as WrestleMania, which is weird.
Big time. So much larger than life.
Yeah, I'm like 1 year behind WrestleMania.
Me and WrestleMania, like, I always turn, like, I'm always the age of the WrestleMania we go to. Like, we're going this year to 38. I'm 38. Next year, we'll be at 39. I'll be 39.
So you're actually older than WrestleMania.
So on and so forth, because that is how math works.
Yeah, I'm actually the same age as WrestleMania.
So you're actually older than WrestleMania, Joe.
You're
yes,
a year
2
older.
months. Yeah. But because the way it works out, like, I'm that kid who like would be younger in school because my birthday was in the summer.
I'm just a sexy Kurt.
Sexy
Kurt.
How great Shawn Michaels' mullet was at WrestleMania 10.
It was but I will say, his mullet was ranked 3rd for head of hair in this match. Number 1, obviously Razor Ramon. Number 2, Howard Finkel's hairpiece.
Oh my God, Sly Sterling. Yeah, absolutely, so good. Dude, like, how fucking cool is Scott Hall?
Yeah, see,
seriously,
this why it makes sense that he was the first man.
Fuck, man.
So the only thing that I remember from being in the audience during this match, like, because I'm 10 years old, I was sitting on the side of the crowd that actually got to see all of Shawn Michaels' ass.
Jesus.
And I always held
that's
that.
how it started for Joe.
That was the moment. I was like, look how hairless it is. And like, it's just, we ran from there.
My.
It was at this point that Joe knew he fucked up.
Hey, Razor's ass ain't so bad right there. Damn.
Jesus.
Come on, man.
Dead.
He not here. He's not. Is that a thing? Like, if a porn star dies, are you not allowed to watch their work anymore?
I don't know. I don't think that I've ever.
How would you feel? Okay, wait. How would you feel like Saturday night, the wife's out of town, so you fap one out on Pornhub because we support them, and then the next day you somehow come across an article and it's like, porn actress dies, yada yada yada, and you're like, interesting, and you scroll through and you're like, motherfucker, that's the girl. Like, that's the girl that was between the 3 guys. I like, oh shit. I fucking lost at least 5 babies yesterday to her.
If I find out after the fact, I don't think I have an issue with it. It's like if I find out on Friday night and then I go Saturday night, I'm like, well, I might as well do this because she's already in my head. Like, I think that's where the problem is.
Yeah, Katie Vick called. It's definitely when you find out that she's dead.
Right. If you don't know, like,
Like if you're like, hey, by the way, she's dead. Hold on, let me go to my Google search real quick.
So wait.
But like,
So let's okay, like real talk.
years
Like
after the fact, like, can you revisit it?
So one of my favorite websites that I used to go on when I would watch porn. I actually don't watch porn anymore for the most part. I just acted it. And when I would watch porn, though, I used to really enjoy Broke Straight Boys. And I know factually someone from a whole bunch of the early videos died, like years and years ago. And part of me is just like, am I not allowed to ever watch his videos again? Because some of them were kind of hot.
I mean, you gotta self eval. Yeah, you know, I'm not here to judge. I don't think I could do it, but you know,
but it doesn't work that way with wrestling, right? Like it's okay to still watch like Chris Benoit matches.
I just love the fact that Earl Hebner just ran right into that camera. By the way,
yeah, sure did.
Just ran.
I mean, yeah, if you want to, I don't know that I ever like seek out Chris Bowflex matches on purpose, but like if I come upon a match that he's in, wow, that is a nasty bump, by the way. The through the middle rope just flat back on the floor. Fuck, that hurt. That hurt me.
I'm just glad that we've officially adapted the name Chris Bowflex.
Well, like I don't like to say the actual name on a show.
I enjoy Diesel's outfit here because it's like, let's make him a tough guy, but also let's make him like in an 80s electronica band.
Oh, no. the silver pants with the black chaps? Yeah.
This Diesel look is what the Young Bucks have been using for the last fucking 15 years. They were like, he's tall, it's got silver, and it's got tassels.
It's got motherfucking tassels.
Yeah, you're not wrong.
And he can pull off those really cool glasses with it. Let's go. Super kick.
Great sideburns too on Big Kev.
His mullet was actually not that bad here either.
I was gonna say that's actually a pretty good mullet in and of itself. Also impressive, he made it to the back without blowing his quad out. so that's a WrestleMania first.
Good firm.
I love how he had to duck to go back. Also, this was one of my favorite WrestleMania stages, by the way.
Yes, same.
Like the X that splits and then goes back together.
Can I admit, it wasn't until like, I don't know, about a year or two ago that I realized it was just people doing that.
Wait, what?
It's people. Like there's people that are moving it back and forth. You can see their hands.
I was today years old when I found that out. Like literally, that's breaking news to me. Like I thought it was on some like automatic track or something.
No,
there's literally two motherfuckers sliding them back and forth.
It was like how if you look really closely, you could see it was a dude in a wig being Buffy the Vampire Slayer's stunt double.
Unfucking real. Spoiler alert, after this show is over, I'm going to go watch more matches on WrestleMania 10, just the entrances. Like, just looking for these fucking hands, sliding them doors open and close.
Oh, fucking shit.
Also, like, you would never see this today with you seeing the cables under the...
Yeah, no.
Or, like, the blue apron under the black apron.
Yeah.
Like, little production details. That's what I love about old wrestling, like old WWE especially. Like, the details. I mean, hell, the fact the ladder's not painted black. Like that it's just a fucking Home Depot ladder.
Home Depot special that we bought on the way in.
You know, and like so you have black ring apron, black and gold ropes, blue posts.
I've heard they use wooden ladders now that they just paint to look like they're steel.
That wouldn't surprise me in the slightest.
Real? No. There is, well, maybe some of the ones for the bigger spots, maybe.
Yeah.
Or maybe like one that has to hold like Keith Lee.
Right.
And
let's not forget the one ladder match at the Big Show literally like stepped on a thing and literally snapped.
True.
I mean, also, why the fuck was a Big Show in a ladder match? Like, let's think this through.
The odd of the match last weekend was when Orange Cassidy literally tried to climb up anything and everything to grab the big oversized Sonic the Hedgehog ring.
Sucks. Did you see the video? Like, did you go watch that back on the show? The camera angle on that sucked so much ass compared to the view that we got live. Mm-hmm. That was such a mark out moment. And then you watch it on TV, and I bet everyone watching at home was just like, okay, it's kind of cool, but it's not that cool. Like, it had to be a wider shot. You had to be able to see that he was trying to make it for the title.
Yeah,
the oversized Sonic the Hedgehog ring, sir. There was no title belt up there.
Right, you're right.
The like everybody wants to bitch about WWE's production with cameras anymore, and don't get me wrong, terrible. AEW just as bad. There was something like the Wednesday night on Dynamite this week.
I feel like at points it's worse.
Yeah, like I forget what it was. Was it something?
Oh.
I actually see.
I think there's a ladder like that.
Dude, this fucking match is more brutal than I remembered.
I think WWE is great with camera angles. I think their editing needs work.
They change cameras too much.
Yeah.
Yeah, there's too many camera cuts. When you can count like 36 cuts in a 4-minute segment, you're like,
no, it's too much.
This is how you get people seizures.
Yeah.
Well, I think, and I want to say, it might have been Tim that pointed out, like, if you change so many camera cuts, it doesn't give your brain the opportunity to realize things that they're doing wrong.
I think his ass is coming.
I don't think that's how it works, Joe.
No, I know. I mean, I think the moment where like that changed my life forever.
Why am I coming?
Yeah, make it happen. There we go. Hey, we know what side of the hard camera I was on. Ooh.
I think I'm about 96% sure we know why this is your favorite wrestler of all time.
Well, I was sitting in Madison Square Garden and I saw Shawn Michaels' brown eye, and now he's my favorite wrestler of all time.
If anybody shows their ass on any independent shows this next weekend in Texas, Joe's gonna have a new favorite wrestler.
How on a show that started with Little Richard, Scott Hall still has the best perm.
It's true.
100%.
But like, so we were discussing this among others on 3 count of old WrestleManias that sucked. Outside of this match, and I love that spot, by the way, but outside of this match,
Brett and Owen.
Now, Tim said he enjoyed the mixed tag. It was 609, Bam Bam and Luna versus Doink and Dink. Okay.
It was short enough not to suck.
I'll even give you that. The rest of this show, bad.
Yeah, you had 2 Yokozuna fucking world title matches. Hot garbage.
Yeah, not good. Randy Savage versus Crush in a Falls Count Anywhere. That was less than 10 minutes.
That you had to somehow get back to the ring.
Yeah. How does that even work? It's not like that's not a fall. Like that's literally fucking count out.
So stupid.
How are you counting people out in a fucking Falls Count Anywhere?
Look, Randy Savage don't follow no rules. Haven't you ever seen him in a Royal Rumble match?
It's true. Alundra Blaze defeated Leilani Kai in 320. Men on a Mission beat the Quebecers in 741.
Count out.
This was the longest match at 1847. The second the Brett and Owen was 2021. You had Earthquake defeated Adam Bomb in 38 seconds.
That's a travesty. Adam Bomb should have won.
So bad.
Okay. Can we talk for a minute, like real talk? Speaking of Mandela effect shit, I swear to you, both guys in Chronic were dead.
He put money on it last week that both were dead, by the way.
Who was the other guy? Was Adam Bomb in Chronic?
Yes.
Yeah, him and fucking
and it's Crush is dead.
Oh yeah, Crush dead.
That they both passed away at some point. This is Mandela effect.
Oh yeah, no, dude. Like fucking Adam Bomb does the fucking convention circuit.
I swear to you, this man died like a decade ago.
So what happened was I was talking to Joe about the WrestleCon shows, and I was like, "Oh, I wonder who's making an appearance." Because I think we were even talking about one of Sonny's arrests, and I was like, "Oh, I guess she ain't coming to fucking Dallas now." And then I was like, "Well, maybe she still is. Maybe she got a work release fucking for him. I don't know. See what happens." So the first name that pops up because it's alphabetical is like Adam Bomb, and I'm like, "Dude, Adam Bomb's gonna be there." And he's like, "No, Adam Bomb's dead." I'm like, "No, Rush is dead."
Listen. I know at this point, between people who listen for Big Jim and people who listen because we're on Ernest's main feed, we have like a whole 20 listeners now. If any of you out there are from my timeline, please tweet at us and let us know how you remember that both members of Chronic died. Because I swear to you, this is a thing. Prove to me that I'm not alone. Baron Stain. My brothers, Berenstain.
Brian Clark's dead. Adam Bomb's still alive.
I'm telling you.
Fucking Bomb.
Dude, but when you're talking about the Mandela effect and stuff, like, have you noticed, like, if WWE tweets out a picture, even like an old picture, where a superstar is holding the Winged Eagle belt, they have edited the photos that the WWF logo is not on the belt.
Correct. I did not know that.
Yeah. And like there was points where I had to look up, like I'm like, wait a minute, where the logo, like seeing it convinced me in my brain that the logo was never on the belt.
It was
because I've gone back and I've seen it like on old pay-per-views I've watched, and like you can even go back and look at just, you know, Winged Eagle belt, and you can see old pictures of it from where. And I get why, because part of the lawsuit thing, but the fucking Mandela effect shit is real, because I have gone, did they really not have the logo on the belt? But they did.
At WrestleCon. Maybe he'll make an appearance somewhere.
But if you can get your, I don't know how much he's selling them for, probably way too much. But if you
footballs,
the Atom Bomb footballs, if you can get your hands on one of those, grab one and send one Big Jim's way, because that to me is such a fucking great piece of wrestling memorabilia. It'll go right over here next to the urn and the microphone, right there on the little table.
I'll see what I can do. I make no promises.
I appreciate that, dude. Like, these guys just fucking threw themselves around this ring. What would have happened if that ladder would have broke? Like, do you think they had a backup ladder?
No chance.
like I just see them like casually lowering the title so you could reach them from inside the ring.
Stack like 6 chairs on top of
like I don't think like anybody was playing. They were probably thinking like, oh, you know, this ladder's not gonna break. They're just fucking throwing themselves around. I just love it. I love the fact that you still see the fucking warning stickers and stuff. That's like the warning stickers definitely say do not use this in a fucking professional wrestling match, I'm sure.
I don't know if the Home Depot on 23rd Street was there in 1994, but if it was, this is where they bought this ladder from.
I will say this though. Speaking of WrestleCon, there is a strong chance that I try to go, because session 3 and 4, arguably the greatest. Shit! That ladder broke.
That ladder did.
Yeah, arguably the greatest light heavyweight of all time, and my favorite.
Dominic Mysterio?
Oof, Jesus, why?
Ricochet?
He's still a dick. The immortal Jushin Thunder Liger.
Oh, very nice.
Will be there, so I may have to go to the picture, because at the end of the day, need more Liger.
Oh my god, dude! Scott Hall was a monster in this match, man.
Yeah, he's dead. This match.
That like never thought of him as being this like really big guy, but he really was.
He was like, what was he billed at?
I don't even remember.
Yeah,
6'7", 287.
Yes, 6'7".
I don't know why, but I always thought of him as not being as big as like Undertaker and guys like that. But like he is
a couple inches shorter than Taker and Nash.
I guess that's true.
Fuck, man. 6-7.
Jim, you guys should try to get a booth at WrestleCon Los Angeles.
You know, that's probably not a terrible idea, Mike.
That super kick spot was fucking awesome.
So good, dude.
Like
we're gonna be at I don't know where your listenership all covers, but
we're all over the world.
Sea to Shining Sea.
March 26th, we are going to be at the 2300 Arena. I think Matt, maybe Mark.
Oh my God! Go have a cheesesteak from Tony Luke's for me.
The 2300 for the Icons convention.
Mm.
Yeah. The Kirk Riley Madison will be at our table.
Maybe send me one.
But yeah, speaking of cheesesteaks, I just found out. So there's a relatively new casino about 52 minutes from my house that has a Tony Luke's in the casino, and I'm like,
Shut your face.
I'm going to lose so much money and get so much fatter at this goddamn casino if I ever go, because I will just eat fucking cheesesteaks and gamble my money away.
I see no problems with any of this.
As someone who lost enough money today betting the NCAA tournament,
feel
your pain. I mean, it's not that I lost a lot of money. It's just you know, some I had a couple of $5 bets, everything within reason of the ballpark. But when you hit 3 out of 4 and you just see your one team flush everything down the toilet, you just
Kentucky? Are you talking about Kentucky?
So what I did was I actually took, and I'll do it again tomorrow because it's what I do. Basically, I take the 4 games from the time slot and I pick somebody from each game, so I have a reason to watch all 4 games.
Oh, nice.
So, but yeah, John Calipari really fucked me because I had him in like 2 extra ones that I put in for like the entire day.
Well, why would you bet any kind of money on John Califlageristic?
The same reason why I would spend money on a trip to Dallas so that you can dream about Shawn Michaels' ass some more.
Ooh.
I can do that all the time.
Joe, do you want to go rub that for him? I think something hurts.
I was gonna say, I think Joe never wanted to be a wrestling rope more in his life.
He spent some good time on there too. Like he really teabagged that thing.
He let him know where he was from.
Right? He was like, "Here's my P's and my Q's."
Ooh, Tennille Dashwood's gonna be there. And Tony Storm. Sorry, I'm looking at the
Tony Storm is entering the OnlyFans world.
Yeah, but it won't be anything like
right. Like that was my thoughts. Everybody's getting all worked up about it. I'm like, hey, remember when Scarlett Bordeaux said she was going to do it, and then it was not worth it?
Yeah.
Like that's all that's going to happen. Great match, dude. I love this match.
Fantastic match. Ultimo Dragon's going to be there, Joe. We got to get a belt. We got to get a picture with Draggy 8 belts.
Oh my God.
Yeah, me and Joe officially named Ultimo Dragon Draggy 8 belts for his.
Can we get a photo where he just has us over each of his shoulders and wear 2 of his belts?
Then that makes him Draggy 10 belts.
Yes.
I don't know if Draggy can pick me up.
I believe in him. He picked up like 8 of the Villanos all at once. It's fine.
That's true, he did. God damn it, UCLA, you sacks of shit.
Uh-oh.
And the match is over.
Yeah, minus 13.5. They won by 4. Real douchebags. All right, so before we go on to my topic, anything else you want to add about this great ladder match and why it's the greatest ladder match of all time?
No, not really.
Yeah, no, I mean, it just, I remember watching this as a kid and like not, like I never had a thought that like, oh, this is something that can be done. And it just, it is a reminder of, it's a reminder of just like just a good friggin' classic match, man. It was that good.
And it probably is one of the gimmick matches that has made the most sense in terms of gimmick, because it was built. It's always been built a lot of times around a title, so it's something you're hanging that actually is a value, and you have to use this ladder to get there. But also too, you've got a fucking ladder, so why wouldn't you just smash your opponent in the face with it? It makes logical sense in a business where half the time we've got in matches that involve guys ending up in electric chairs. At least this makes sense.
True. You're not wrong. Abdullah the Butcher being stuck in an electric chair made no sense.
No, it did not.
All right.
Your topic?
Yep, let's wrap it up here. My topic for this week, Scott Hall never won the big one in WWE or WCW. Was a multi-time Intercontinental Champion, multi-time Tag Champ, multi-time United States Champion, as well as a TV Champion one time in WCW. So my question here, and it's Scott should have won the title, I feel, multiple times. And I feel like there were times that it would have made a lot of sense for Scott to get a run, even if it was a transitional champ or something along those lines. That would have been fun. So my question is to you. I want you guys to pick a time in Scott Hall's career that you think that he should have gotten the world title, whether it be a 5-minute reign, a 5-month reign, a year reign, whatever you want to do with it is your choice. But try to pick a spot or two where you think Scott could have and probably should have been world champion.
Oh man, that's
You're the guest, so you get to go first. Even though you're not really a guest, you're on here more than Ernest is.
I was going to say, he's the fourth member.
Man. So this could either be WWE or WCW, right?
Or both, if you have one for both.
I mean, I can't necessarily think of any specific time in WCW, but I mean, fuck, who didn't hold the WCW title in that NWO, right? You know what I mean? Like how does he not end up with it at some point in that run? Man, I'm trying to think. His match with Brett at the Rumble, that was before
93. That was right before the Hogan WrestleMania 9 win.
Because I feel like that almost feels like height of power, even though he didn't get the Intercontinental until this point. Like that just felt. I was like, man, just fucking pull the trigger.
It's funny. I actually said this to Craig before we came on the air. That was the exact time that I pinpointed in his WWEF reign. I said that he should have came in when he came in and debuted and had the look. They should have capitalized on it right there.
Yeah.
Brett won the title at a house show in October and then lost it to Yoko at Mania. I said that I felt like Razor winning the title, even if it was for a month, winning it at, say, Survivor Series and then losing it back to Brett at Rumble to lead to Yoko, to Hogan, and the bullshit that ensued afterwards. But a heel tactic from a guy like Razor Ramon to win the world title within the first couple months that he was in the company, and then Brett has the ultimate underdog story that he has to go through Razor. Yoko wins the Rumble match, so now he ends up going through everyone, all of these big heels. He goes through Razor, eventually loses to Yoko. Yoko then loses to Hogan, then beats Hogan, and then that turns into a clusterfuck. Or any time after Yoko regained the title at King of the Ring.
Yes.
Turning him face, letting him win the title, and then holding it for a couple months. Yoko could have won it back, and then you could have had the double main event at WrestleMania 10, and he could have went to Shawn. Or you could have just made that ladder match for the world title and gotten Yokozuna off the show twice.
Absolutely. But yeah, I want to say, yeah, right off the bat, that that Rumble spot. Give
Three.
it to him there. Have him lose to somebody at Mania.
Well,
Like,
see, for me, I think part of the problem with the WWF timing is literally that timing. WWF back then didn't really do the whole, hey, put the title on this guy for 2 weeks thing or 2 months or whatever. Back then it seemed to, I mean, because like honestly, it's why Owen Hart never won the belt either, and he should have in '94. So I don't know that Razor, because of the timing of when he was in WWF and when he left, I don't know that he actually there. I don't know that there was a point when I would have put the title on him there. In WCW, I'm honestly shocked that he was never champion. And I was not an avid enough watcher to be able to pinpoint a time where I'd say, oh, yeah, he should have done it then. But it is literally just shocking that he never was champion there. Like when Mike and I were first talking about this topic, I thought we were going to only talk about the WWF until I realized by way of Mike that he was never champion in WCW either.
yeah, it's fucking insane. I mean, everybody, almost everybody in the NWO had a minute with the title, and you don't give it to Scott Hall. You don't give it to one of the three that even made that fucking matter.
And I think that's because at that point Scott was already fighting the inner battle.
Well, you're probably right.
His reliability had started going down. He had started not being in any kind of shape to wrestle.
The way they hot potatoed shit. Like if he doesn't show up one night, fucking just
I'm not disagreeing.
You know what I mean? I get it. You don't want to reward a guy for making bad.
I think that's more or less what it is. But maybe it's this, and I'm not trying to be this guy because I don't really like to speak negative because I think this person had a very integral role in the wrestling business, and I like to not be one of those people that shit on him religiously. But maybe this is a fucking Vince Russo problem.
I mean, certainly could be.
Because Vince Russo didn't give him the title in WWE. Scott leaves, Vince leaves, Vince shows up in fucking WCW. He doesn't give him the fucking title in WCW either.
Good point.
This is a Vince Russo problem. Because, I mean, at this point, when he showed up, obviously Hogan getting the world title first was always the route that you were running. But he could have gotten the title at some point in those first couple of years in WCW. He could have gotten him in the later half when it was Wolfpack versus Hollywood. He could have had it in multiple times in WWE.
Yeah.
I've never thought of that before.
Again, and I don't want to be that guy because I actually appreciate what Vince Russo has done for the business. Yes, Vince Russo is his own worst enemy, and he says a lot of dumb shit on social media and on his shows. But like, I don't want to be that guy that speaks negatively about someone who definitely did a lot of good for the business as well.
I
feel like this could be a larger scale.
On Russo are mixed. I think that like his booking style worked for the time in which it happened.
Correct.
I don't necessarily know if he was good for the wrestling business.
What I mean by good is that he was able to show like the shit he did. You were able to see what worked and what didn't work to improve it. Like there always has to be that person that lays the groundwork of, okay, Slam TV works, but it has to work this way.
I can get behind that. I think
more like he was like the bricklayer of the foundation of the home. Now you have to have the people come in and put in the flooring and the drywall and the tile and all that to make it a home. Like, yeah, cool. He was a foundational piece that you got to see. Oh, Slam booking works, but it has to be done this way. And you got to do it this way. And you got to have the right people in place so that you don't fuck it up.
Okay. That's fair.
That's the way I look at it. And that I guess that's the way that I explain the most when it comes to that terminology. Because there are things that he has done that, like cutting a promo and getting zoomed in right on the guy's face so you can see the beads of sweat and the veins and all that. Like that really works whenever you're in a blood feud promo. But he did that for every promo for a while.
Right.
And it was like, buddy, reel this shit back in. Like, it works when Austin's in the middle of a feud because, hey, by the way, I just hit him with a stunner and then he cut me open because he's wearing fucking full body armor like Kane, and I got him with another stunner and I got to fucking make him bleed.
What?
Exactly. but you zoom in on Austin because you see like he bled at the Hell in a Cell and he's pissed off.
Yeah, absolutely.
Like it makes sense. 2 promos later, whenever you're
I don't need to see Mosh and Thrasher up close.
No.
For no reason whatsoever.
That's my point. But everyone was like that, and that's the problem. And we're going to overtime. Murray State and San Francisco.
Hey-o.
More overtime. All right. So, does anyone else have anything else to add on this one?
No, I don't think, man. We touched on it a little bit on our show. I don't know if I'm putting Scott Hall at the top of my list of guys who never were world champion. He's near the top. He's probably on the Mount Rushmore of guys. If I have to pick my number one, my first instinct is probably always to go Roddy Piper. I don't necessarily think Roddy Piper needed it.
I can list you off my Mount Rushmore right now, just sitting here.
Okay.
Piper, DiBiase, Owen, Scott Hall.
Are we talking? And are you talking just WWF on that one?
What?
Are you talking just WWF on that one, or?
Sure.
Mine's probably. Fuck, DiBiase's such a good one too. Fuck. Piper, Owen, Razor. I'm gonna go Mr. Perfect.
I like that one too.
I'll go Perfect over DiBiase, but DiBiase, that's such a strong answer too.
What I feel like is coming out of this, and I know we've talked about the bracket for the ugliest title belt, doing that one. I think we might have one that we got to do before.
Guys who never won a world title.
Greatest non-world champions of all time.
Yeah, that's a good one.
I think that's one that I'm gonna start the bracket. I'm gonna see if we can come up with what 16 or 32.
I mean, between us, we can probably come up with 32. I will obviously I can enlist the 3 count boys as well.
Oh, for sure, yeah, because I would want this to be almost like a joint effort.
Well, the 3 count region and the take 3 region.
Yes.
I like that, man. That's we can we can come up with 32. I'm sure.
We can come together for the Final Four and make it like a super show.
I mean, fuck. I mean, I can come up with probably 10 right now. I mean, what did we say? Piper, Razor, Owen, DiBiase, Perfect, Jake the Snake, Davey Boy. I
mean, as much of a dick as he is, Snuka.
Snuka is there. I said Jake Roberts. I have WrestleMania 7.
Rick Rude.
Rude, definitely fucking Rick Rude.
I mean, did Andre technically hold the title?
He held the title, but he never won. He was never actually world champion. I don't think he's ever listed as a world champion.
That's what we'd have to go look at. But that could be a random name that you could add.
I don't think he was ever technically WWF champion. Let's see, championships accomplishments. Oh, I guess that he is recognized as a WWE champion.
Okay, so we have 9 in like a minute and a half.
Yeah, we can definitely come up with 32.
Yeah, for sure. All right, so we'll table that. I'll get the brackets going on that because I can get that started this weekend.
Yeah, I like that. I like that a lot.
All right, let's go to our wrestlers of the week for the week that ended yesterday, which is now 317, no longer 316. Because what? fascinating note. I used to live in an apartment that was 316.
I currently live in that apartment.
If I lived one house over, I'd be 316.
Hell yeah. So yeah, all right. So wrestlers of the week for this week. You guys know how it works. We nominate our 27 wrestlers for the month, and then we vote on the top 25. Actually, no, it's 36 wrestlers that we nominate if no one gets doubled up. All right, Jim is the guest. He'll be taking Ernest's picks this week. He gets.
What even is that?
Oh,
That doesn't sound good.
dogs causing problems again. You said I get to go first?
Yep.
Thank God, because I get the easy one, Thunder Rosa.
See, that's what we like to do with Ernest sometimes too. Is we like to give him the softball because like he obviously hasn't watched shit. So
I know, like, dude, I love how he's like he professes to be an AEW mark. He's like, I haven't even watched AEW in 17 weeks.
And doesn't he sound oddly proud of it?
Like here's the deal. I don't watch SmackDown every week. I will probably catch SmackDown as it airs at least once a month.
makes sense.
I will have Raw on just about every Monday unless I'm doing something. I've caught some of NXT as of late. I will have Dynamite on every Wednesday unless the Capitals are playing. Like, or if I'm doing something. Like, there will be weeks that I miss stuff, but like, I'm acutely aware of what's going on. Yeah, I've never gone a month without seeing a program. Like that's very crazy to me. But yeah, Thunder Rosa, that one's easy. Oh, God bless us all for the rest of these.
All right, I'm gonna go next. I will take. He had a fairly decent match, I felt like, at NXT 2.0, retaining his NXT championship. I'll take Dolph Ziggler.
I actually kind of do you like what they're doing with mixing with like the Miz going down there doing Miz TV?
I do because of who they're using.
Yeah, it's smart.
Like, okay, Miz is over enough. Yeah, he could get some heat going. Like, yeah, send him. Like, send a couple of these people that actually make sense.
And like the sad thing is, like these are things they probably should have done with Black and Gold NXT. I think they need to do them now to make people go, oh, let me check this out. And I'm actually seeing a lot more people who are talking about how much they actually really enjoy the bioluminescent brand.
NXT paintball. Joseph.
My number one will be Kevin Owens,
All right.
who received a formal response to his invitation to Stone Cold Steve Austin for going to the prom, and also then beat Seth Rollins to protect his date. Although I still think we're going to end up with Rollins versus Owens at like night 2 of WrestleMania, to be honest. But they gave it away on Raw for free, so the fuck do I know? By the way, unrelated, but I still always like to point this out because I feel like the world doesn't point this out enough, and it's one of those things because I think it's brilliant. The fact that Stone Cold Steve Austin used to be Stunning Steve Austin, and his finisher was the Stunner.
I don't. You know what? I might as well just. That's fun today, Joe.
The most awesome, like, wink back old career.
I'm just learning a lot of things today.
Attaboy.
I'm just learning. Well, actually, I learned about the WrestleMania 10 entrance yesterday because now we're at 12:34.
Yep.
So now I've learned my.
Says hello.
I've learned my thing for today. Thank you, Joe. You took care of that early.
Jim, the floor is yours for your next selection.
I mean, some might say he did not have a great week. But I am going to show my love for Big E. The man, yes, he broke his neck, but the fact that dude walked away from that spot and without having any paralyzation or anything like that. And that man seemed happier with his broken neck and a neck brace than I've ever been in my life. So God bless you, Big E. I'm going to show you some love on this one.
Yeah, it sucks damn. It sucks he's going to be out of WrestleMania.
Yeah, it's not good, man. It's a bummer.
Because of how bad of a week it was in professional wrestling, I get to make this pick now because this is going to be fucking entertaining. My second pick this week is going to be none other than the leader of the Bullet Club. Give me Jay White, as he was able to get the rest of those fucks on the same page and kicked out the Guerrillas of Destiny at the at the New Japan Cup. So give me Jay White for actually getting shit together. Joseph?
I don't know. Give me the fucking Hardy Boys because they're back and they've won 2 matches in the last since last week. And
did they wrestle twice?
Well, they wrestled on Dynamite, didn't they? They might not have wrestled on Rampage. Okay, fair. But still, though, they're back together. They're cosplaying as their 90s self. It's kind of awesome. Jeff Hardy just randomly starts dancing sometimes. It's really kind of working. I love him in AEW, to be perfectly honest. Let's go.
He is the only person that can make me almost give a fuck about Matt Hardy.
Yeah, I get it.
I couldn't get once he decided he's not going to be broken Matt Hardy anymore, I couldn't give a shit about Matt Hardy. With the HFO, the AHFO, the HMO, the Home Mortgage Organization, whatever it is. I don't care about Matt Hardy.
He just tried to get more abbreviations than Bianca Belair.
He really did. So my third.
Yep.
I'll do it, Mike, so you don't have to. I'll fall on this sword for you. Successful Intercontinental title defense last Friday on SmackDown. Because we're just coming fresh off the St. Patrick's Day. The Irish Intercontinental Champion himself, Rick O'Shea.
He's still a dick.
Still a dick.
All right, my last selection. I was gonna go sentimental, and I was just gonna give it to Scott Hall here. But we've talked about Scott a lot on this show, and I feel like if we put Scott Hall in there, he would automatically be the wrestler of the month. So I don't necessarily know that I want to go that route from a sentimental value since we've given him the entire show. So I'm actually gonna go with a man who won at the New Japan Cup. And the way that he was victorious was by knocking out the current IWGP United States champion, which is Sonata. I will take Will Ospreay.
Are you serious?
I am, Mark.
I don't know who else to pick, so I'll go the sentimental route and take Scott Hall.
All right, Joe's taking Scott Hall. We got him on there anyway. So, all right, again, the wrestlers nominated for this week: Thunder Rosa, Big E, and Ricochet from Jim. Ricochet is still a dick. We've confirmed. My picks: Dolph Ziggler, Jay White, and Will Ospreay. Joe's is Kevin Owens, the Hardys, and Scott Hall. So that's the wrestlers of the week. Next week will be the second to last week of nominees for the month. We're gonna have a couple extra nominees this month because this month runs 5 Thursdays instead of 4. So we'll have a couple extra nominees for that. And then we'll, of course, that's actually going to be fun because coming back from WrestleMania, we'll have our March to add to the first 2 months as well as all the nominees from that. So that'll be a fun thing at the first show in April. Anything else to add before Jim starts plugging stuff? Joe?
I have made up.
Shocker. Jim, plug away.
Yeah, of course. Big Jim Sports on Twitter. You can follow 3 Count Thursday at 3 Count Thursday, always the number 3 on Instagram, Facebook, Twitter, 3countthursday.com. Subscribe on all podcast platforms as well as YouTube. hit the link tree. All of the stuff is on the website. Huddle Up Podcast. I think we're going to be recording something next week because that's kind of going to be the theme in the off season. I'm not going to do live shows during the off season, but I think we're going to touch on some of the craziness of the NFL, trades and signings and all that. Baseball's back, so I think we're gonna get a variety of guests on that one. So make sure you go to Huddle Up Podcast on Facebook and Twitter, YouTube, and all of that. Again, link trees have all the links. Huddle Up also has a TeePublic store, just like 3 Count. So find all the links. Again, that's going to be the easiest thing. Is just you can even find stuff. I have a link tree on my Twitter. So hit them there and check all the stuff out. Always fun chatting with you boys.
Yeah, we appreciate you filling in for the toolbox. We appreciate you basically being the 4th member of the show now that we've decided to expand without talking to him. Follow the show at Take3 Wrestling on Twitter. You can follow me at They Call Me Burn. If you want to, for some reason, follow a giant Snap-on Toolbox on Twitter, you can follow him at EJChristian7. Joe is on Twitter. I'm not going to plug that. I'll let him do that because, it's his thing.
He likes to plug it. I mean,
if you want to see me naked, go follow Alonso Diaz 2021 on Twitter.
And if you don't, block it.
Just
block the account. Just block the account. Do yourself a favor.
It's the most Twitter followers I've ever had. I'm at 369.
Shocker, you'd have.
I'm not even kidding.
Shocker, the number would end in 69. You probably told people to stop following you so they could stay in 69 all night. Other than that, we'll be back next week where we'll talk about the week of wrestling as well as some other fun topics. Until then, thank you guys for hanging out with us for the last hour or so. We'll see you guys later from the Take3 Wrestling Podcast.